Have you ever left a negotiation feeling like you missed something important? Like there was a whole conversation happening beneath the surface that you couldn't quite grasp? Here's the thing, in every negotiation only about 30% of the real communication happens through words. The rest, it's all happening in the subtle psychological dance that most people never notice. Today I'm going to show you exactly how to read and use these hidden signals to transform your negotiation outcomes. Let's start with something that might surprise you. Your brain is actually negotiating all day, every day, even when you don't realize it. Think about the last time you decided what to eat for lunch. That was a negotiation between different parts of your brain. Understanding this constant internal negotiation is key to mastering external ones. Here's where it gets fascinating. Studies show that people are more motivated by avoiding loss than by potential gains. This psychological principle is why "don't miss out" is more powerful than "get this great deal." And then there's reciprocity, that powerful feeling that makes you want to return a favor. It's so deeply wired into our psychology that even something as simple as a smile can trigger it. This is why skilled negotiators often start with small gestures of goodwill. Now let me introduce you to what I call the 4 pillars of negotiation psychology, the fundamental principles that shape every successful negotiation. First up is anchoring. That first number or idea that gets thrown out sets the stage for everything that follows. It's like dropping an anchor in the ocean. Everything else tends to stay within its range. That's why car dealers always start high, and skilled negotiators are careful about the first numbers they reveal. Next, we have social proof. We're naturally inclined to follow what others are doing. When someone says, "this is the standard rate in the industry," they're leveraging this powerful psychological trigger. But here's the catch. You need to know when it's true and when it's just a tactic. The third pillar is cognitive dissonance, that uncomfortable feeling when our actions don't match our beliefs. Smart negotiators create situations where saying no would contradict something the other person has already agreed to or believes in. Finally, there's loss aversion. Remember how we talked about fear of loss being stronger than desire for gain? This pillar is so powerful that it can make people accept worse deals just to avoid losing something they feel they already have. Understanding the battle between your instinctive responses and strategic thinking is crucial for negotiation mastery. Let's look at how your natural brain responses can work against you and how to override them with strategic thinking. When tensions rise, your brain automatically triggers the fight or flight response. Your heart rate increases and your ability to think clearly decreases. This is great for surviving a tiger attack, not so great for negotiating a raise. The key is to respond thoughtfully rather than react instinctively. Think of it like playing chess. Each move is calculated and purposeful. We naturally become emotionally attached to our positions and offers, making it harder to stay objective. It's like when you fall in love with a house and suddenly can't imagine living anywhere else. Train yourself to evaluate situations as if you're advising a friend. This creates emotional distance and allows for clearer thinking. Your brain craves immediate results. It's wired for instant gratification. This makes it harder to play the long game in negotiations. Develop the ability to see beyond the immediate deal. Sometimes walking away leads to better opportunities down the road. That primal fear of rejection can make you settle for less just to avoid hearing no. It's the same feeling that made you nervous about asking someone out in high school. Reframe no as information rather than rejection. Each no brings you closer to understanding what the other party really wants. Let's dive into what I call the silent power moves, the unspoken elements that can completely shift the dynamic of a negotiation. First, let's talk about the power of space and time in negotiations. The strategic pause is like a secret weapon. When you make an offer and then sit in comfortable silence, you're actually letting the other person's mind do the hard work. It's amazing how often people will negotiate against themselves just to break that silence. Your physical position in relation to others speaks volumes. Leaning back slightly shows confidence, while leaning forward can signal either interest or desperation. It's all about the context. Controlling personal space is crucial. The person who defines and owns their space often ends up controlling the conversation. Now, let's explore how your body naturally communicates authority or gives away your weakness. Your hands are constantly telling a story. Open palms facing up show honesty and collaboration, while pointing or chopping motions can create defensive reactions in others. Eye contact isn't just about maintaining it, it's about knowing when to break it. Too much can be intimidating, too little shows uncertainty. The sweet spot is maintaining it about 60 to 70% of the time. Your posture is broadcasting your confidence level to everyone in the room. The key is to take up space naturally, without appearing aggressive. Finally, let's look at how the environment itself can be a powerful negotiation tool. The way a room is set up can predetermine the power dynamic. Corner office, round table, each choice sends a message. Where people sit matters more than you think. The person facing the door often feels more in control. It's a subtle but powerful advantage. Even small environmental factors like temperature and lighting can impact negotiation outcomes. A slightly cool room keeps people alert and focused, while harsh lighting can make people more aggressive. One of the most valuable skills in negotiation is being able to decode what people are really saying. Let me show you how to become fluent in this hidden language. When someone starts using defensive phrases like "to be honest" or "trust me," they're actually revealing their pressure points. These aren't just filler words, they're golden opportunities. For example, when someone says "to be honest with you," they're often about to share something they feel vulnerable about. That's your cue to listen extra carefully. The phrase "we'll see" is fascinating. It's rarely a neutral statement. In most cases, it's either a soft no from someone who doesn't want conflict, or a tactical delay from someone who needs more leverage. Understanding which one you're dealing with completely changes your next move. Here's something that might surprise you in negotiations. A quick yes can be more dangerous than a no. When someone agrees too readily, they might be avoiding conflict now, only to create problems later. Watch for enthusiastic agreements that aren't backed by clarifying questions. They're often red flags. The most important signals often come from what people don't say. When you present multiple points and they respond to all but one, that silence is telling you exactly where to focus. It's like they're drawing you a map to what really matters to them. Here's something that transformed my entire approach to negotiation, and I want you to really let this sink in. Every no you receive isn't an end point. It's actually the beginning of discovering how to make things work. This is revolutionary because most people see no as a wall, when it's actually a door. When someone says no, they're not ending the conversation. They're starting a new one about what needs to change. That how is your pathway to finding creative solutions. Think about it. When a child asks for ice cream and gets a no, what do they immediately ask? How can I get ice cream? They instinctively understand something many adults forget. No is just the first step in finding out what needs to happen for a yes. This simple mindset shift can transform your entire negotiation approach. Let's talk about 4 powerful psychological triggers that can dramatically influence any negotiation. These aren't manipulation tactics, they're natural human responses that, when understood, can help create win-win situations. Scarcity is hardwired into our brains. When something becomes limited, it instantly becomes more valuable. But here's the key. The scarcity has to be real and specific. Don't just say, "This is a limited time offer." Instead, explain exactly why the opportunity is limited. Maybe it's because resources are being reallocated next quarter, or because market conditions are changing. The more concrete the reason, the more powerful the trigger. Consistency is about our deep psychological need to align our actions with our previous statements and beliefs. This is why getting small yes responses early in a negotiation can lead to bigger agreements later. When someone has publicly agreed with your smaller points, they're more likely to maintain consistency with larger, related requests. Authority isn't just about titles or positions, it's about demonstrated expertise and trusted knowledge. This is why sharing relevant data, industry insights, or specific experience can be more powerful than pulling rank. The key is to establish authority through helping and teaching, not commanding. Commitment works best when it's active and voluntary, When people choose to commit to something themselves, rather than being forced, they're much more likely to follow through. This is why asking questions that lead people to verbalize their own goals and priorities is so powerful. They're essentially negotiating with themselves. Let's break down the crucial differences between amateur and master negotiators. These contrasts can make or break your success. The gap between common mistakes and smart moves isn't about natural talent. It's about understanding and practicing the right approaches. The most common mistake is filling every silence with words. People get nervous and start overselling, revealing too much information, or worse, negotiating against themselves. When stakes are high, most people let their emotions drive their responses. They take things personally, get defensive, or make impulsive decisions based on pride or fear. Inexperienced negotiators often dive straight into price discussions, treating everything like a simple transaction. They miss the bigger picture and leave value on the table. There's this common urge to wrap things up quickly, often driven by anxiety or impatience. People rush to close deals before properly laying the groundwork. Master negotiators use strategic silence as a tool. They listen not just to words, but to tone, pace, and what's not being said. They understand that information gathering is more valuable than information giving. Instead of reacting, skilled negotiators take a moment to process. They treat objections as requests for more information and stay focused on solutions rather than emotions. The pros always establish value before discussing price. They explore broader interests, find hidden opportunities, and create a framework where price becomes just one part of a larger solution. Masters know that timing is everything. They're comfortable with tension, use pacing deliberately, and recognize that sometimes the best deals need time to develop. As we wrap up, let's focus on how you can put everything we've discussed into practice and truly master the mental game of negotiation. The best negotiators spend as much time preparing their mindset as they do their facts and figures. Before any important negotiation, take 5 minutes to visualize success, but more importantly, visualize yourself staying calm and focused when challenges arise. Think of it like an athlete's pre-game routine. It's not just about the physical warm-up, it's about getting your head in the game. Here's a game-changing perspective. Pressure isn't your enemy, it's your ally. When you feel that tension rising, use it as a signal to focus more intensely on the other person's needs and motivations. The key is to redirect that energy from worry about outcomes to curiosity about possibilities. Every time you feel pressure, let it remind you to ask one more question rather than make one more point. Creating win-win outcomes starts with believing they're possible. This isn't just positive thinking, it's about training yourself to look for overlapping interests even when positions seem opposed. Make it a habit to ask yourself, what does success look like for them? Before every negotiation. Understanding this helps you present your proposals in a way that addresses their definition of winning, not just yours. Finally, remember that negotiation mastery isn't about perfecting individual moments. It's about building consistent habits. Start small. Practice strategic silence in everyday conversations. Look for non-verbal cues in casual meetings. And most importantly, reflect on your interactions. What worked? What didn't? Each interaction is a chance to refine your skills. And speaking of practice, I'd love to hear about your negotiation experiences in the comments below. What techniques have worked for you? What challenges are you facing? Let's learn from each other and build our negotiation skills together. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more practical psychology tips that can transform your professional and personal life.